Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone today? Hopefully absolutely supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. As long as everybody is that, I'm thrilled, right? So, a couple of things. I think I start every call by saying a couple of things. In fact, every conversation I ever have, I start with a couple of things. It's like, can I ever just have just one? Oh, there's Anthony going off on a tangent. That's kind of like my little way of letting everyone get in. Let's see, couple of things. Today our Rhino Bucks is over $1.50 something. And the reason I mention that is because now, of course, we're the main buyer in the market, which is as a result of you being the main buyer, right? Like every weekly investment comes to Rhino, then that money goes to the market, the Rhino Bucks. So we know when it's going up, and then we take a note at the supply, like how much is being sold. And a couple of observations could be made thus far this week. Rhino is not the only buyer in the market, which is actually probably the biggest observation, or at least I don't want to say biggest surprise, but the most important observation. It has been our belief, yeah, really doing very well. It's been our belief that the crypto market is such a market of those that are looking to make money that there's a whole bunch of different softwares available. And what I mean by that is it's still a fairly mature market, that there are companies that sell certain bots. And a lot of people have participated in these bots, but these bots are what's the word I'm looking for? Impressive. In the sense that the bots will go ahead and identify, okay, what's a new coin that just came out? How many addresses is it? How many wallet addresses? How many transfers is it doing? What is the price movement of it? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like a filter system. So for instance, would it behoove you to know, all right, I don't know what this coin is, but it just came out last week. It's at 150 addresses already. It has 400 transfers, and it's gone up every single day. If you knew only that, would you buy the coin? Well, if you were a speculator, I would say more times than not that coin's going to go up, but you would never put all your money on one coin like that, right? But what if I said I have 10 of those for you? Would you put, say, $10 in each one of them and really be okay with it, knowing that the odds are at least 6 of them would work out better than the 4 that didn't? The point being, that's a fairly obvious answer, meaning those bots do exist, meaning there is going to be people that are going to find us based on the filter of our performance, meaning the more we grow, the more it exponentiates, because as we get larger, more of those bots find us. The point of the story is we've seen 2 different purchases so far that are not in our community. And the only way anyone would find out about us while not being in the community is word of mouth. But if it was word of mouth, why wouldn't you join the actual program? Like, we have a platform for this. It's more likely than not an automated purchase via a bot. If bots are finding us already, our performance has been very good thus far, right? Like, we've gone up every single day and all of those attributes that we shared. But if bots are finding us already, then things are going to move a little bit quicker than we thought they were, because we weren't expecting bots anytime soon. So that's definitely an observation I want to share with you. Secondly, my day today, it's so funny. I feel like I have a day off, but I don't, right? Because we've had so many calls these last couple of days. I think I've averaged probably about 10 calls a day. Some Monday, I believe, was like 14. And then yesterday, I think was like around 8. So, let's call it 10 between friends. And today is the culmination of those calls, right? So all of the things that were spoken about on those calls, what does it mean for us going forward? Because like I've always shared with you, these calls aren't just, hi, how are you? And giving lip service to partnership, but a lot of good advice comes of them. And it is my obligation in stewarding Rhino that I do go ahead and take the advice, the good one at least, and apply it going forward. So let me share some good advice. Eve, who is absolutely amazing. She's from Mexico. She lives in Paris. Being in Europe, shares Rhino with a lot of family members. Well, here in the US, our states all speak the same language. You know, if you're in New Jersey, New York, you share with someone from Wisconsin, everyone speaks American. In Europe, it's not so much like that. If you're in Paris, France, and you're sharing with someone from somewhere in Germany or somewhere in Italy, they speak different languages. Meaning it is a bit of a challenge to share our YouTubes in Europe if they're not translated in different languages. So her advice was, Anthony, I don't know how YouTube does it. I'm sure they do. Maybe it's a paid service. I don't know. But you can transcribe YouTube, and your videos are transcribed. You should see if there's an option to transcribe them in different languages. That would be quite helpful. So that is a note that we've taken, and we're going to do so. Another note that actually she had offered was, Anthony, and I think I shared this early in the week, you should have a Q&A. A top 10, a top 20 of the most asked questions that people can go to and look at it for themselves. Because odds are if one person asks a question, others either want to ask it or they're thinking it. And just because someone's not thinking it doesn't mean that they might not think it in the future. Therefore, if you can go ahead and share the top 10 questions and be able to answer them, then anyone that comes to the platform is that much better off. So we are applying those. I spoke to Michelle and she goes, Ant, you know what? I love the affiliate system, but I really want to do as much as I can. I want to write emails from my email personally. Can you write up a bit of a blurb that I could share with others that, you know, is kind of personalized, but I could share with others, like what's RHINO, who are you, and give me something I could copy and paste. I went ahead and put together something very quickly for her, and she was happy with it, but we should have something that anyone could go ahead and copy and paste and send into an email. This is RHINO, this is from Anthony, right? Anthony had given permission that if we're inviting someone personally, we could copy and paste this, and this is him speaking to you personally. Why don't we have that? We should. In which case, that went ahead and spurred further thought. There is a partner, well, I guess a contact. I went to school with her. Her name is Katie. She's been doing really good on Twitter. She does different type of investments. I think most recently she had about like 6,000 followers as it pertains to like an oil and gas well she was recommending. And then the stock market crashed. Well, not crashed, but did really, really poorly the last couple of months. And she had since stepped away from Twitter saying, hey, I don't want to torpedo my following. I'm having a difficult time. If I could just find that one thing that people can grow with, they can understand, and it's a good opportunity, I'd like to be a part of it. So of course, in hearing her say that, I've connected with her and said, hey, listen, why don't we go ahead and welcome you on RHINO? You could go ahead and kind of be a face of it for your audience. And if our relationship grows to being something more material than just kind of affiliate, we're willing to go down that road with you. Now, it's someone I went to school with since middle school, so I'm happy to do it. There is a girl that I kept mentioning, our TikTok girl, and that sounds kind of rude, right? She's so much more than a TikTok girl, but she's a girl that we know from New Orleans that is really, really quite excited to head our TikTok marketing. Spoke to her yesterday. We're going to start this Monday. She was a little under the weather this week, and plus, actually a little nervous. And I say that not to go ahead and say, oh, she's nervous, but people are understanding the opportunity that RHINO is. It's not just a fly-by-night, hey, we're looking for someone that could do some content. No, if you're going to do content for us, I'm scripting it for you. There's going to be messaging. There's going to be a theme. There's call to actions. And there's a lot of opportunity for you on the other end, but it's not just, hey, go out there and wear little shorts and tell people to press a button. That's not us. Our branding has to be commensurate with the standards that we set. So I'm working with her on that. We have another friend who's actually just quite popular. This really is just that girl that's pretty and everyone likes her. Might do an Instagram or Facebook post for us, but I even said to her, if we do something it's tasteful, it has something to do with aesthetics, right? Like we are thrilled of what skill sets that you have, whether God-given or not, that brought them to you. That's great. But that doesn't mean that we're going to go ahead and leverage, hey, look how nice your hair is, buy RHINO, right? As long as we have the eyeballs, how they got there, cool, but we're going to always be in control of the messaging because RHINO does have standards. And that's not to say modeling is not a standard, but it's not commensurate with RHINO, right? We're not a model agency. So that takes care of Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. As we spoke, as we just mentioned with Michelle, we want to do some email stuff. Also, we have a RHINO that, is an older gentleman with a great voice, been in sales his whole life. And he was telling me how because he's on Social Security, he's not allowed to work, he's not allowed to earn past a certain, X amount. And I said to him, I go, let me ask you something. And he had purchased more RHINO. I go, I'm looking for someone that's willing to do cold calling. But it can't be, like a 17-year-old booger picking kid that just, all right, I'll do it for like 10 an hour and then move on. It has to be someone that's passionate. It has to be RHINO. I go, I think you're RHINO. I go, would you entertain the idea of working from home and we would compensate you in, say, RHINO bucks, so it's not going against your Social Security. And then, of course, you could take that and exchange it in the market, collect the money. So you are being compensated in something that's easily monetizable to dollars, but we're not giving you dollars, so everyone's happy. He goes, I would love that. I go, okay, I need to put a program together for you. How amazing would it be if you had that older gentleman calling you and answering all the questions that you might have had? There are a lot of older people that we will not be able to reach because they're not sitting here online or proficient with online anything, right? Like the person that doesn't know how to use a computer would like to be part of RHINO. How do we reach them? And I think this answers that. And then lastly, I spoke to a gentleman who has been doing mortgages for 9 years. Really successful. Great. Guess what market is not doing well right now? Mortgages, because rates are rising. So his industry came to a halt. Now, this is a gentleman that actually went ahead and purchased more RHINO, loves RHINO, wants to be in RHINO, and is actually using his savings for RHINO. I said to him, I go, you are absolutely the person I'm looking for. He goes, why? I go, your industry is all relationships. You have people that you put into houses or that trusted you to get into houses, or you gave pricing for houses. You have their emails, you have their phone numbers. You are a point of authority to them. He goes, yeah. I go, and you love RHINO. You just spent an additional $2,000 purchasing RHINO coin in a one-shot payment. He goes, yeah. I go, would you be interested in some type of compensation package that we could put together where you can reach out to your ecosystem and share RHINO? He goes, I would love that. I go, it's even better. All of your colleagues are the same exact thing. They all have the same contacts. It's all people, phone numbers, emails of a relationship that's not, hey, click this, but hey, I'm trusting you with my finances, with my banking. He goes, yeah, I do. I go, that's amazing. You're someone I'm really looking for. And he was all the happier to do it. What is your definition of older? That really great voice on the telephone. Like a lot of people don't know, I'm 36. They look at me and they're like, oh, you're 27, 28. And when I speak, I don't have that deep voice, so I sound even younger. But the gentleman was just, I actually don't know how old he was, but it just had that soothing voice that you knew that he was probably Santa Claus in December because he made you feel good, right? It was one of those. The point being, my day is creating all of those programs and looking to have them launched for Monday. So that's my day, right? And I said to my wife before, I feel like I have a day off because I'm not on the phone with people. And she goes, hey, you don't even know what a day off is. And I go, I know I have to do this, but then when I'm done, I'll be off. She's like, when you're done, it'll be like 5 o'clock and you would have created like 17 different programs. I go, yeah, but then I have to get in touch with the team and, last thing. So I'm working with John and Ralph, who everyone's ahead of something different. Ralph is RHINO Street and John is Salesforce. But again, they're all really, really skilled people, and their skill sets certainly offer more than one advantage. I want to create a RHINO store, a merch store. And now we have been speaking to one of our RHINOs about it. So it's actually, we've been thinking about doing it the same exact time. So it's not, you mentioned it and we're running with it. It's been working in parallel. And actually, people might remember I have mentioned this before. Oh, there's Michelle. Love her. I always wanted to design clothing with a QR code. I just think that's the next thing. I just think if you can make the most amazing design with RHINO and we stand for what we stand for, and then you have a QR code that the person has the ability to change the landing page on. So you have a QR code that's on your shoulder or somewhere, and there's a sentence, I don't know, QR me here, and then the person QRs it and says, hey, if you want to talk to me, get me chicken fingers and fries, right? Like, I have no idea. Or, hey, I just started a new business, check it out. Whatever it is, it allows someone to express themselves through their clothing that's allowed to be able to be morphed and evolved with who they are from second to second. And I always thought, how cool would that be? And then it doesn't exist, and RHINO's always out there looking to invent something. So if we can go ahead and capture the coolness plus connect it to RHINO, how cool would that be? I've used that and it works amazing, right? So we are actually building that. I'm getting on a call with them at 10:30 to see where we are with that, what is possible, stuff like that. Yeah, so tricky. Again, I am I come up with the idea, and then I'm really fortunate that whether it be RHINO or our team members, everyone is smart enough to be able to kind of point me in the right direction. So it allows me to be a complete dreamer and a complete visionary when I have the luxuries of those that are like, yeah, that's what you think? That's your dream? Okay, this is how we do it. I used to call Abigail that, the dream maker. I would say something and she'd go ahead and put it together. Spoke to her the other day. She's doing really well, actually. All right, 10:16, I'm 6 minutes over. You would think one day I might not be over, but this is what this is. If you've seen the numbers today, they are really great. We're up to 314, and in fact, 315 as I'm speaking. The goal is to get to 10,000. As long as we're up every single day, that's a good thing. And now that we're going to institute all of these programs, plus start doing mass marketing approach, again, the numbers have been up 1 to 1.5% per day, but that's not commensurate with what our potential is. It's commensurate with us going slowly. When we start launching all of these other programs and start doing a mass market, you're going to see that moving quite quickly. And especially when people start seeing RHINO coming to town and Anthony goes and meets everyone and signs people up one by one, hundreds at a time. Is it possible to have a Zoom live chat once in a while for an hour or so? Yeah, absolutely. That's a good idea. Let me think on when to do that. Maybe we'll do it like on a Saturday, like Saturday 10 to 11 a.m. and we'll all just chat. But I do love the idea. So maybe this Saturday, let's do that. And if everyone joins, cool. If no one joins, then womp womp. You think V will allow it? I gotta beg her for some stuff, but hopefully she says yes. I love everyone and I will see you tomorrow. Bye everyone.